Hey guys, Ali's Tech here, and today we are talking about the Samsung Galaxy S. This weekend is Samsung weekend. I will be uploading tomorrow and the day after as well. So, today we are doing the Samsung Galaxy S. Let's get straight into it. The first Samsung Galaxy S was called the Samsung Galaxy S. So this phone came with a 4-inch display, 5 megapixel camera, 512 megabyte RAM, and 1500 milliamp hour battery. It was released in 2010. It was released in June 2010. It weighed 119 grams with a 9.9 millimeter thickness. Android 2.1 up to 2.3. 8/16 gigabyte storage with a micro SD card slot. This was a pretty good phone for the time. I don't know if it was better than the iPhone, but it was a pretty good phone for the time. I don't think it was better than the iPhone. The iPhone 4 had came out then, and the iPhone 4 was an absolutely magnificent phone. It was really good. People still have it now. And it had a glass back design. This clearly doesn't. Okay, next one. Galaxy S2. This looked a bit nicer. And came with a bigger display, which was only 4.3 inches. 8 megapixel 1080p camera. 1 gigabyte RAM. 1650 milliamp hours. Don't go comparing the Samsung Galaxy S to the iPhone 2G, the first iPhone, because it came out 3 years before. Samsung is a bit behind. So this phone was released in 2011 in April. 116 grams, 8.5 millimeter thickness. Android 2.3.4 to 4.0.4. And it came with 16/32 gig storage and a micro SD card slot. Samsung Galaxy S3. 4.8 inch display. 1080p 8 megapixel camera, 1 gigabyte RAM, 2100 milliamp hour battery. So this was released when the iPhone 5 was released, 2 months before the iPhone 5. It had some pretty impressive technology, but the iPhone 5, I think the iPhone 5 sold better. I don't think this phone looked as good as the S2. But it did look okay. There was also a mini version, I think, which a lot of people also bought. So, 133 grams, 8.6 millimeter thickness, Android 4.0.4 to 4.3, 16/32/64 gig storage, and a micro SD card slot for expandable storage. Samsung Galaxy S4, 5-inch display, 13 megapixel camera, 1080p, 2 gig RAM, and 2600 milliamp hour battery. Those are some pretty good specs. 5-inch display. We still only get a 5.8 inch display on the iPhone 10. And the iPhone 7 has a 4.7 inch display. And the iPhone SE has a 4-inch display, which the Samsung Galaxy S had. So this was released in 2013 in April. And the iPhone 5S was released in September in 2013. iPhone 5S was better, of course. I don't think this came with Touch ID. Actually, yes, this phone didn't come with Touch ID. Android 4.2.2 up to 5.0.1. And I think this had some weird face unlock. Not as good as the iPhone 10s or what Samsung has good now. Because you could fool it with a picture. And I think it did have a curved display if you look on the display. Pretty cool. Not like curved, but like curved corners. Android 4.2.2 to 5.0.1, 16/32 64 gig storage, micro SD card slot. S5. I think this phone came in a lot of colours. I think it came in a bit of a blue like this colour, which the text is. And the blue was a nice colour. I think black would have suited it best. And this phone did have them ports thingies covered, so it gave it a little bit of waterproofing, water resistant, but it still wasn't good as wasn't as good as the iPhones or Samsung's water resistance now. 5.1 inch display, 21, that's a 4K camera, 2160p camera, 16 megapixels. iPhone still only has 12 megapixels, and I think Samsung's gone back to 12 as well. Doesn't really matter about megapixels these days. 2 gig RAM, 2800 milliamp hour battery. Released in 2014 April, 145 grams, 8.1 millimeter thickness, Android 4.4.2 up to 6.0, 16/32 gig storage, micro SD card slot. So this was released couple of months before the iPhone 6, and I think the iPhone 6 had a much better design and design change. This was still a plastic back, so was this, and the iPhone 6 had an aluminium back. And then we come to the S6, 5.1 inch display. I don't know why you would put 5.1 inch display on. 16 megapixel camera, 4K again, 3 gig RAM, 2550 milliamp hours battery. Okay, so the first iPhone to have 3 gig RAM was the iPhone 7 Plus. The iPhone 7 didn't have 3 gig RAM, and they were released in 2016. This phone was released in 2015 in April. But Android needs a lot more RAM than iPhones do. iPhones still manage fine with 2 gig RAM. 138 grams and 6.8 millimeter thickness. Android 5.0.2 to 7.0. Surprised this was supported to 7. 32, 64, 128 gig storage, no card slot. Also came with Edge, Edge Plus and Plus. This phone had the best design on a Samsung ever, and they still basically have the same design right now. Apart from the iPhone, the Samsung Galaxy S8 has minimum bezels. And this phone was a pretty good phone. A lot of people still have it now, and it still is better than some Samsungs these days, like the Samsung Galaxy A5. See, this phone is better than that. Some pretty good specs. Still an alright phone to buy. Samsung Galaxy S7. This is my favorite Samsung. I don't really have a favorite Samsung, but if I did, this would be my favorite. Features a nice design. 5.5 inch display, 12 megapixel camera, 4 gig RAM, 3600 milliamp hours. Released 2016 March, 157 grams, 7.7 millimeter thickness, Android 6.0 up to 7.0, 32/64/128 storage. I don't know if this is supported for Android 8.0. It might be. Micro SD card slot. I brought it back because customers said they want it back. Samsung listens to customers, I guess. Apple really doesn't, but Apple doesn't need to. Okay. Also came in Edge, which was larger too. And before we move on, actually, I'll just say that iPhones support their software updates much longer. So let's go back to the S4. This was only supported for 2 years after it was released. The iPhone 5S is still supported for the latest iOS, and it was released around the same time. And now we'll go to the latest S model of Samsung Galaxy. The 5.8 inch 12 megapixel camera, 4 gig RAM, 3000 milliamp hours battery. S8. This is a very nice phone. Shame it didn't come with dual megapixel cameras. I think the S8 Plus and the Note 8 are basically practically the same, apart from the Note 8 has dual lens cameras and the little stupid pen. And Android 7.0 it came with, and it's still supported for Android 8.0 or whatever is out now. 64 gig storage, micro SD card slot, already curved, came in Plus variant, which also had 6 gig RAM. And now we'll go on to the Samsung Galaxy S9. It is still to be released. It's not released yet. So here we can see the S9 will have 5.8 inches displays, 12 megapixel camera, 4 gig RAM, and we don't know how much battery it will have. And then the S9 Plus will just have a bigger display and 6 gig RAM instead. So Android 8.0 on this, and it will come with Android 8.0, and who knows what it'll go up to. It's not been announced yet. I think it might be announced next month in February or maybe in April. 64 gig storage, and the S9 Plus has 128 gig storage. iPhones have 256 gig storage. Just putting that out there. S9 Plus has dual camera, micro SD card slot. That's it. iPhone 10. Go watch my last Apple video. Uploaded it the day before I'm uploading this. Okay. Subscribe, like, and share. Thanks for watching Ali's Tech. See you in the next video. Samsung Weekend.